All right, it's about time to get the siding completely finished up. I've got the wood waiting here for me to do it. Cedar and her new BFF Dixie, they feel like the house wrap may not be an adequate backdrop to the garden. Plus Cedar wants the house finished, so it's time to get it done. When I changed the front of the house to board and batten from the horizontal, somebody asked about the Z flashing. Now, one of the few things that I did do right in the beginning was the transition between the board and batten and the horizontal siding. I put the Z flashing. I left that flashing on the front, and I was able to put the new board and batten right up underneath it. If you can keep that water off the ends of the wood, it has a tendency to last much longer. So I have to pull that strip of wood off across there, and then get the house wrapped, put across, and then start the installation of the board and batten. The back side of the house here seems to get a little bit more weather than anywhere else on the house, naturally, because there is not an overhang protecting it, but also it seems like the storms come in from this direction, so I need to make sure the back of the house is sealed up very well. If you've seen the early videos, then you know that there was originally supposed to be 2 more windows on the first story on this back wall on the back of the house here. But as the stairs got framed up, the windows had to go. In the background, you can see Rhett's wrecked Dodge truck that he rolled over winter. And once I figured out that my son was okay, I immediately recognized how heartbroken he was over wrecking this truck. I bought his wrecked truck from him mainly for the engine and transmission that's in it. And a few weeks back, I found the replacement truck that we're going to put that drivetrain in. That means that at some point this summer, I've got to get that truck roadworthy and ready to go to work. I told Rhett that if he would help me get it back together, I told him I would use the truck for a few years as a plow truck while he gets his life figured out, and then we'll figure out a way for him to get that truck back. So in the next few weeks, we're going to start getting that truck ready to work on. As far as the board and batten siding is concerned on the back of the house, I'm putting down the 1.5 3/8 inch flat strap that I'm using as the backing for the board and batten siding so it does not cup and move around like it has in the past. Again, I've talked about this a dozen times, but if I had originally planned for the board and batten siding, I would have put backing in before insulation and drywall, so this 1/4 inch strap wouldn't be required. But using the metal strap is an easy solution to that problem.
Hi, babe.
Love you. The Kohler backup generator that we've used for the last couple of years is basically sitting here doing nothing. But when we installed the new Cummins generator over winter, I wanted to make sure that all was well with that before I removed this generator. But it's time to get this thing out of the way as well. More than anything else, this lifestyle constantly gives us opportunities to reevaluate what's working and where we can improve. And that fits my personality perfectly. But if there's ever an opportunity to improve or change something, I have no problem doing that. This wood was the wood that I took off the original front porch when I broke it down because it was dry. And I knew that when I went to reinstall the siding, I needed dry wood. So I set about 60 or 70 pieces aside and I went and bought new wood for the new front porch. So that part of it's done, but now I have to cut all this down and get it ready to be reinstalled as board and batten siding. And the way they cut this rough sawn lumber, it's never consistent. So what I'm gonna do is prep every board by cutting it to length, cutting the bevel on the bottom, and if need be, I'm gonna run it through the planer and get all 30 boards prepped, so when I start installing on the back side, it goes really fast. You can see the thickness between the two boards. I'm gonna have to plane those down. I may even go get a 12-inch planer so that they're all planed evenly, but
our dad went all the way to Wyoming to get us 2 Honda Recon 4-wheelers just for us. They're really slow and they're just...
You're doing great, buddy. Okay, they're not too slow, but they're not big, heavy 4-wheel drive wheelers. They're slower than the 500. That's the 500. Callie rides that 500. I picked up 2 matching 4-wheelers. The price was great. I paid $1,600 for 2 2002 4-wheelers that have probably less than 500 miles on them. When Callie rides that big 500, the steering on it is hard because it's full-time 4-wheel drive. Plus, Callie and Reed don't have their own wheelers, and I thought this was a good opportunity for them to help me, help them, put new seats on them, fix them up, and make them their own individual wheelers.
Can you fix them up? Because we didn't know.
I'll help. I'm definitely gonna help. Let's start by getting them unloaded and seeing which one runs. Word, come on. That's one. Watch out. What do you think you are? Evil Knievel? Yeah. Okay, so Mom's. I'll go get some new batteries for him. Then we'll decide how much we're gonna. That one's cracked too. can. So all of the Honda models that have the electric shift are prone to problems. So that's the question with this one, is whether or not it has a real problem or if it's battery related. So both wheelers are 2002s. One's an electric shift, one's a manual shift. I am in these things $1,800 and they both run great. But these things are exceptional. Other than the sun damage, they probably have a few hundred miles on them, if even that. I'm gonna help Callie and Reed find a way to earn the money to order the plastics, to put brand new plastics on it. I already bought new seats for them. And then I'm going to help them paint the rims and clean them up and make them their own individual four-wheelers that they can have some fun with all summer long. If I take 1/8 of an inch off the back side of that board, it lines up just fine. But I can make that wood work and I don't have to go buy a $500 planer. We will see, but I think I can make this work. Because I choose to do this in rough sawn lumber, all of the individual pieces have to be knocked down just a little bit. I don't really want to go buy a $500 13-inch 110 volt planer, because the truth is good planers are not 110 volts usually. And also, good planers don't cost $500. As much as I know a stationary planer would get used regularly around here, I want to make sure I get the right tool for the job and something that's going to last a long, long time. I used the Huberwood zip tape that I had left over from building the shop to seal up any potential points where water intrusion could happen on the house wrap. And although the tape was not designed for it, it worked beautifully. I'm super excited to get this all finished up across the back here because this little spot next to the garden has become one of our favorite places to sit and hang out as a family. I am going to show you my wife Cedar's little brother's amazing old family homestead. I believe it was his great-grandfather that originally built this house, but I think it was his great-great-grandfather that originally homesteaded here. But anyway, I don't know that we've ever talked about this before, but the main reason why we ended up in the community that we are now living in is because of my wife's half-brother and half-sister and stepmom that we came to visit many years ago initially, but last night I came over to her little brother Casey's house. He raised and processed a cow, and we purchased half the cow. But anyway, Casey said he needed help with baling and with cutting hay. So I'm gonna run the baler, I think, while he loads hay. Where you want the truck? Go to the end of the field, go through the gate?
Yeah.
Put it down there somewhere?
Yep, just right down there. Yeah, and put it out in the middle of this one.
Okay.
Sweet.
The very first time I ever came to this area, at least that I remember, was to come and see Casey and his little sister, Chelsea. And I think they were about 9 and 12, something like that. Casey wasn't much older than 11 or 12. I was in my early 20s, if I remember right. But I never got over the beauty of this valley. For years after that moment, I would ask my wife all the time about this area, and then I would look up real estate on this area. So anyway, Casey had the opportunity to move back to the family home and the family homestead ultimately that he was raised on, and he did it. And I'm proud of him for coming back. He's had to take on some a lot of work around his place since his Casey and I were just talking about what he wants to put into round bales versus 2-string bales. The truth is, this is the life I always wanted, but farming and ranching is getting to be awful expensive. We got a rainstorm coming in case he wants to work till midnight.
are so great. You did awesome keeping these alive. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. They're definitely hardened off. You got this going. Okay, you grab that one, I'll grab this one. Right here we have a 10-inch pot. I got them because we're a little late in the season. So the bigger they are, the better. It might be a little late because normally if I were to buy these at a nursery, I wouldn't want to see him blossoming out yet or having any fruit, but he's pretty big and that's where we're at. So then I like to buy things that are local more than going to big box stores. Not that I won't, but so these I bought from a local lady just in town who grows them for fun. And I like them except for she binds them to the stick like with these little pieces of nylon or something, but it still scars the stem a little. For example, this guy, they've just stuck one stick in here, but they've loosely tied a string to it. So it kind of pulls it so that it has some structure, but you can see it's not damaging that. Anyway, this is a sun sugar. They're one of my favorite cherry tomatoes. They're like a dark yellow, delicious. They're so good. They're called sun sugar for a reason. They're really, really sweet.
And they're yellow too. That's
and they're
cute.
yellow, yeah. This is called a brandywine, and this is an heirloom tomato. You can kind of tell the difference between the hybrids and the heirlooms by their leaf shape. So this one has more like a leaf like a potato, and this one has kind of sharper edges. So this will be a hybrid, and this will be an heirloom. And then we have a big beef, which is just a good all-around tomato. Good for canning or however you want to use that. And then we have, this is another brandywine because I wasn't sure those were going to make it.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, early girl. Actually, this is an early girl. This is the other brandywine right here. And these are all local growers. As you're looking, when you're buying plants at the nursery, you want to flip them over and see if any roots have started coming out. Yeah, because once they're root bound, that plant thinks that that's as much soil and space as it's going to have. And so it will start to flower out like this. And that's, sometimes that's as big as that plant will go. So those are looking pretty good. What you want to do is you want to find something that's maybe halfway down. This is all the way down, but it hasn't wrapped yet. So it's still going to be a really good choice.
I feel like that's happened with flowers, like if I've bought petunias or something before, you get it and you have to...
have to break apart the root ball, and it shocks the plant, and then it has to recover, and it's not going to do as well as if you buy the smaller plants. Look for smaller plants, even smaller than this, really. This guy's kind of grown a little bit. You don't necessarily want to go to the nursery and buy the biggest thing that they have. You want to look for root, you want to look for flowers, and make sure they're not there, and especially like this. Those little fruits, you would normally pass that up. This is a bigger pot, so it'll be fine. But
well, and we want that because we are so late in the season.
And we are so late in the season. We need a good head start.
Two.
He's a little root bound, so I'm trying to massage out the roots so that they know it's time to get, into real soil. But you don't want to hurt him too much, or else you'll shock him. And his roots are ready to just thrive.
Okay, good.
That's cool. When big box stores, and it's not really their fault, but they will sell plants that do not belong in this environment at all.
Yes. You mean like blueberries?
Like blueberries.
But they've sold. People bought them.
And then they wonder, and then they think, oh, I'm a terrible gardener. And I'm like, no, it's not you. it's that store.
Blueberries don't grow in Idaho.
It tells you, I know.
Southeast Idaho.
You want to give them just a nice, good soak. Get that all the way down there. So this is going to be our tomato box, and because we have a small space, we're going to trellis them so that they go up and over an arch. So there's two kinds. There's indeterminate and there's determinate. And what we want here in this situation is to grow up and over. So we want the vining kind, or the indeterminate, to go up and over so that it's mostly grand, like its root base will be here, but it will grow up and over the arch, and then the other one will come from the other direction and try to meet in the middle. I think it's going to look really pretty. We'll keep that kind of middle box out of the sun a little bit more so the lettuce doesn't get as hot. And we'll try to make it last a little bit longer because, lettuce gets too hot in the sun. It starts to get that really nasty, bitter taste.
Yeah.
You can't fix it. You just got to pull it out and start over.
And feed it to the goats.
And then we'll see if we can get our cherry tomatoes on the inside, to grow on the inside. It's a lot of plants.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what, even though the roots haven't come out the bottom, if you tip it over, you can see that this is just entirely wrapped. So they'll make it. They'll just take longer.
Oh, it smells so good. Yeah. Like
sun and rain, just how it.
So maybe I should just like take pictures. Okay, so this is zucchini.
Okay.
Same thing, just kind of loosen it up a little bit.
Yeah. Perfect.
I like to plant things too that I can preserve. I love lettuce, but once it's done, you know?
Yeah.
You can't really preserve it.
No. Lift these up. Yeah. There you go, little guy.
Love of Ruby.
She seems like a good dog.
She is such a good dog. I mean, as soon as she hears the leash, she's like, let's go.
Okay.
Well, maybe not.
Set him right in. Scoop, tuck him in.
All right, little baby, grow.
Grow, baby, grow. Oh, kitty. That scared me so bad. Beautiful.
I made that one way easier. This is zucchini too.
Yep.
Yep.
I do this thing where I throw my earbuds in and listen to whatever music or whatever book or podcast that I might want to be listening to at that moment. But I forget that I live in the middle of nowhere in nature. Sometimes as I'm editing videos, it's always mind-blowing, the birds, how loud the birds are, the beautiful noise that is the birds. But I also sometimes don't hear cars drive by. I don't know how many times my wife has snuck up on me or somebody around me has snuck up on me. But as I was working away there just a minute ago, a side-by-side comes up our driveway and I realize it's our oldest daughter Sage and her boyfriend Mason. And then we went inside and sat and talked for 2.5 hours, or they listened to me talk for 2.5 hours. And it was another friendly reminder that I should pull my earbuds out and be alone with my thoughts for a minute. But it was also fun to have Sage and Mason up here. We don't get them up here as often as we would like. But anyway, back to put my earbuds in because I'm running the planer. It's also ear protection. I do rationalize my earbuds as ear protection. But if I die of anything, it's probably going to be from Wi-Fi poisoning or whatever that is that happens after too many hours alone with my earbuds. Let me first say that I am so excited about what our garden is going to look like this year, because I know, having Dixie and Cedar in charge as opposed to myself, it's going to be amazing. While they're handling the garden, I'm trying to get all of the boards planed down, and wouldn't you know, it wasn't the highest quality planer, and it lasted a couple of years, but it's time for a new one. Thank you so much for taking time to watch our videos. It means the world to us. We will see you in a few days, and maybe I'll get all the board and batten siding finished before the summer's over. I think I'm going to call it for today and get back out here tomorrow and see if I can't get it finished up.